You might be undoing your healthy meals by eating bad snacks. Aisha's at the First Alert Safety Desk this morning. I'm all ears because I'm a snacker, Aisha.
Yeah, Tammy, well, this is from the European Journal Nutrition. So the study says 1 in 4 people may undo the benefits of a healthy diet because of those bad snacks. You know, junk food. Researchers analyzed the snacking habits of 854 people. Over 25% of the participants reported eating healthy main meals and snacking on highly processed food and sugary treats. Eating those types of snacks was linked, no surprise here, it was linked to higher BMIs and other weight-related issues, which increase the risk of stroke, heart disease, and obesity. But as we also know, not all snacking is unhealthy. Participants who frequently ate nuts, fresh fruit, and other high-quality snacks were more likely to have a healthy weight compared with non-snackers or even those who chose unhealthy foods. When the snacks are eaten is just as important. Snacking after 9 o'clock at night was associated with eating calorie-dense foods high in fat and sugar. That's what the study found. So maybe something to think about as you're snacking, packing those snacks this morning. Coming up in the next half hour, along similar lines, I'm just hearing about a warning from pediatric experts who say kids at risk for diabetes should not follow a low-carb diet. Steve.
All right.